Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Tier 10 German Tech Tree Super Heavy, the Maus. A vehicle which, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the #1 performing Tier 10 in terms of win rate in the game, even for 55 to 65% players. On average, you will be going around 2.5 to 3% higher in terms of win rate in this tank versus any other Tier 10. And to me, that is just an absolute shock because I have a hard time really loving the Maus. I used to love this tank. It was one of my favorite Tier 10s in the game. But Wargaming has kind of ruined it with a couple changes, in my opinion. The first change has been the constant addition of more and more dangerous autoloaders, right? Originally, the highest damage autoloaders in Tier 10 would deal was about 1200. And that was the T57 Heavy and the AMX 50B. But then Wargaming decided, nope, we need to give the 4005 an additional shell. We need to give the AMX 50B an additional shell. We need to release the Caro and with a 4-shell 380. So there's all these tanks now that feature super dangerous clips. And that alone is really scary because it causes the Maus's hit points to not be as durable. They also nerfed enhanced armor, and simultaneously buffed calibrated shells, which means that the armor on this tank, which was already struggling, is now just kind of useless against most tanks that have just heat. And when you add those two things together, it definitely, knocks the Maus down a few pegs for me. But that's not to say the Maus is a bad tank. As I said, it's the #1 performing Tier 10. And it's pretty easy to understand why. It has a lot of hit points, and it's slow. Being slow is actually an advantage for a lot of players, because most people aren't smart enough to not kill themselves, is the best way to describe it, right? If you have a tank that's super fast, let's say the TVP, it's very common for TVP players to simply drive that tank immediately into the enemy front lines and just kill themselves, like, immediately. It's so common to watch. This tank, you can't really do that, right? It's too slow to legitimately die in that way, at least, so that part of the Maus is good, because it is hard to kill yourself in it. But obviously, there are still some big downsides you sacrifice when driving this vehicle. Now, I'm going to try and fight this Type 71. We're going to see how it actually ends up working out. We have the hatch of that tank, and I'm going to aim in on that hatch. Come on, show me that roof. Oh, aiming. Bonk, there you go, 327. And the Kampf Panzer just YOLOs. Oh boy, well there goes the Kampf Panzer. I don't know why bro's doing this, but there he goes. Alright, let's get a shell into the 57. We get penned once, and... oh, we get a bounce. That's nice at least. We got to try and angle this vehicle to the best of my abilities. Get penned by the Type 71. Get a nice pen in return. You gonna ram me? I was about to say, ramming a Maus, probably not going to be the best decision you'll ever make. But what do I know? Alright, let's aim it on the Type's hatch. Okay. I don't know where that shell went, actually. I really don't. I'm not too worried, though, because, as I said, the whole point of the Maus is to waste the enemy's time. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're wasting this Type 71's time. We're making sure that this player, realistically, just can't do anything. So we're going to keep this Type right here. We're going to aim it on the hatch of this player. There you go. Another nice 450. Let's angle the vehicle so that the Type has a harder time penning me. There you go. And now we're going to aim it on the Type's roof again. Let's load in a gold shell to guarantee the pen, but I guess we don't even need to do that. Of course, my team sucks. I mean, how dare I play the game, dude? Oh, yeah. Lit on fire, of course. Oh, yeah. There you have it. There's the average Maus gameplay for me. This is why I don't love the Maus, guys. This is the problem with it, is that you get a team like this, and for me, it's just not very fun. I don't know what I was supposed to do in this game. I drive as aggressive as I can to hold off the enemy. My whole team falls apart, right? I have a Super Conch, I have a Rhino, I have the best Tier 10 heavies in the game. And I have a 57 heavy on me, I have a Type 71 on me. I don't understand how my team falls apart this quick. I really don't. But there you go. It's a loss. So, first game for the Maus, not the best. To be fair, we did over 3,000 damage. We did 3,000 damage without any ramming, but that Type 71 drove into me about 3 separate times, which gave me an additional 300 damage. So in total, we did 3,300 damage, we blocked 1,860, and there's your amazing team. 300 damage from the Rhino, I really don't understand how you struggle that bad. 400 damage from the Badger, and 1,300 damage from the Super Conqueror. So, can I really get mad at the Maus? I don't know. I guess it's not the Maus's fault my team game was that bad. I mean, the mouse did fine, and the hit points and everything worked fine on this vehicle, right? That Type 71 was clearly a noob. Bro YOLO'd a mouse and bounced half his shells. So the mouse did fine. It's just, as I always say, it's just not mobile enough for me to really make an impact in the battles, which is why it surprises me that it is the #1 winning tank. I mean, to me, I would think a vehicle which is mobile, which has good DPM, which has good flexibility would be, you know, a tank that wins the most games. The IS-7 is a tank that comes to mind because the IS-7 has great armor. It has a lot of hit points. It has super good durability. You know, I think the IS-7 is really the beast at winning, but I don't know. I guess, as I said, it's just, to me, the only reason I think the mouse is a higher performer is because the average player can't kill themselves immediately, where in faster tanks they can. So, with the Kampfpanzer, I'm going to move up over here, and we'll see what I can do. I do have some support. Yeah, I got plenty of support, so I don't need to worry about that, at least. Let's see, there's the enemy mouse. Alright. Oh, there's the Kampfpanzer. Ends up bouncing me. And we get a nice snap into the back of his vehicle. I do like the alpha on this tank, I will say that. This thing hits pretty hard, and that's always something that I've enjoyed about this vehicle. Now, we can see the mouse armor here. It's pretty easy to pen, right? Easy gold shell right into the mouse, and not much of a struggle there. Let's reload again. Let's angle the hull. Let's try to light the mouse on fire. Nope, but a 505 shot. Not too bad still. Alright, well, let's see. We got the mouse over here. We got the 60 TP. Let's load in a nice pen. 575. Nice. We're already doing pretty good this game, right? We've done some damage. We've bled the enemy a bit. Let's see. 60 TP is probably going to push that player, so we're going to move over here. We're going to get this Leopard shot, because I feel like this Leopard needs to go. So that's what we're going to do. I think this Leopard's going to try and jump off, which they do. And at this point, I'm going to turn, get a nice high explosive into the back of the Leopard for 540. And I'm going to continue just kind of taking this guy out of the game, right? There we go. Engine gets killed, but that's fine. And bonk. Easy clear into that player. Now we got the 60 TP in front of us, which I'm going to push. 60 is probably going to be penned by the 260. Never mind, our 260 sucks at the game. Let's get a nice pen ourselves into the 60. Still got the mouse pushing the Progetto as well. Let's see if our 260 can actually pen this shot, or if that's too challenging for him. And he does pen it. I'm going to ignore the 60. I'm going to start farming out the mouse, because our IS-7 has the clear on that player. Let's angle the mouse ourselves. I will use a repair kit, because I need to quickly get over here, and let's aim it on the side of the mouse. Boom. 429. This was a good game. This was a good game for the mouse, right? We're already up to 5,000 damage. We've done a lot. Let's see. That mouse is going to be shot. Is the Progetto going to run? I really don't know what the Progetto is doing, to be honest, but hoping the prog. There you go. 620 high explosive into the turret. So yeah, we kind of had both games in the mouse. That one showcased the bad and one showcased the good, right? This game was great. I was able to use the DPM that this vehicle has. I was able to use the pushing potential and the sheer amount of hit points to just not care. I did 5,440 damage, finished top in the team, and had a really, really good result. And that's really only something the mouse can get away with, right? A lot of people don't realize this, but the mouse has pretty good DPM. And when you have that good DPM paired with the level of hit points you feature, when you are able to make that play, when you're not up against autoloaders. I mean, that game we had a 60 TP up against us, which has bad standard pen. We had an enemy mouse, which clearly had no clue what he was doing. And we had a Leopard PTA who also had no clue what he was doing. When you're in that situation there, it feels great because you have that opportunity to actually get a push out. Single shot vehicles, you have more DPM than them, you have more hit points than them, and you don't have to worry about your penetration struggling. But once you start going up against those vehicles that do get hauled down, right? A T110E5 gets on a ridgeline. That's when things start to get tricky for the mouse because it doesn't really deal with those tanks super well. It's really good at pushing on flat ground. And Fort Despair is actually a great map for the mouse, right? Because you've got that short distance, you've got the heavy side. I really like Fort Despair in a super heavy. I hate it in lightly armored vehicles, but this is obviously not a lightly armored tank. The mouse does great on any map that's small. You get on Dynasty, fantastic. You get on any of the smaller maps. Mine's not so much. Mine's not a great map because obviously it's a hull down map for the most part, and we're not in a hull down vehicle, but for most games you play in the mouse, it's good on small maps. where large maps, it's just absolutely awful. So what are we going to do this game? Well, I'm probably going to push towards the encounter cap, and we're going to try and take advantage of that. The enemy team is Moishin. They got a 7.52, a VK-45. They got a lot of heavies. They actually have no mediums whatsoever, which is both a blessing and a sin. But for me, that's a good thing, because again, I'm in a mouse. I rely on slower, more hit point heavy farms. Now we are detected already, which I really don't care about. We're just going to keep crossing. I'm going to angle the vehicle a bit so that we don't have to worry too much. There's the enemy VK, and there's a nice 430 damage shell into that player. Alright, not too bad. We have the enemy Moishin. We're going to put on my adrenaline, and we're going to move up a little bit. Let's aim it on that Moishin's lower plate, but the player's not going to give me the shot. Let's aim it on the 7.52. 7.52 does pen me, but we hit that player back as well. So far, we're up to 870 damage, which isn't too bad. And as I said, the mouse does actually feature pretty solid levels of DPM, so I don't need to worry too much. Oh, that shell was so close. But I don't need to worry about being out DPM'd or anything like that. We can just angle our haul here, hope that the 7.52 bounces, but even if the 7.52 doesn't, we can just load a gold shell right on the player, and they're trading with me right now, right? I mean, we're trading 1-to-1. But the problem is that 7.52 can't really trade with me because I just have flat, better durability in that regard. So there you go. Nice shell into the Moishin. We back up. We're up to 1600 damage already, which is pretty good. Reloading again. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. We got the Waffentrager F1. Got the 7.52. Wow. Our gun really screwed us over there. I need to be able to close this gap is what I need to be able to do. And if I can get up a little bit closer, right? If I can close the gap on this enemy 7.52, I can aim it on his upper plate. Boom. There you go. 416. If I can close that gap, we can start to bleed out these enemies. And that's what we're doing here. The 7.52 is going to have a really hard time bleeding me if I do this. So let's over-angle our haul. Let's aim it on the 7.52. Oh my god, dude! I hate this gun so much sometimes. I really do. It should not be missing these shots. And I'm bleeding health every time it misses these shots. It's really irritating, my guy. Alright, let's get a shell into the Moishin. We're still alive, but we have been screwed in terms of RNG this game. We have missed multiple easy shots, which shouldn't have missed, on that 7.52. And it's irritating. It really irritates me when I miss easy shots, right? Everybody gets irritated when they miss shots, but the easy ones, those piss me off a lot because they shouldn't be missing. Either way, we get a nice shot into the 7.52. We still have 1300 health left, so it's not like I'm really in a problem situation. And that's what the mouse does, right? It just has that, as I keep saying, it has that durability to not really care. We're already up to 3400 damage. We've already weathered most of the storm that's been placed against us. I'm going to move up a little bit. We're going to aim it on the enemy VK. Aim it on the lower plate. There you go. Nice 575. We get a bounce. I know that the Waffentrager F1's up on the hill, but I'm not really worried about that. We're going to reload again. Aim in. Boom. There you go. Nice 417. That Waffentrager is a scary tank, but not really to me. Just going to angle the vehicle. Somehow that Waffentrager has managed to bounce every single shot, and we get a nice shot in return for 515. So our everything worked really well this game. Our durability worked well. Our damage output was good. And this is more, you know, why the mouse does so well in terms of winning. That first game, I guess, was just a really, really unfun one. But this game, I think we did everything right. We used the gun properly. We kind of used the mouse perfectly. Our gun did not want to work with us, though. I mean, you guys watched that. Every shot we fired had just some goofy RNG on that 7.52. And it is annoying when you have misses like that because, you know, it's just nobody wants to miss shots. Alright, let's see. We got the grill. And, oh, well, there goes all of the grill's HP. Bonk. There you go. Easy clear into the grill across the map. Well, not a bad game. Not a bad game. We had some bounces, we had some damage, and we did good. And as you'll notice, with my build on the mouse, HP and just bleeding is the main goal. I don't care if I don't block that much. To be fair, we did block a lot. We did 3,300 damage block this game, but for me, the major goal I have in the mouse is just to be an HP sponge. I have 3,220 health. So with that build, I'm just wasting the enemy time. They're going to keep shooting me. They're going to keep wasting their DPM and everything on my tank, right? If you're firing premium shells at the mouse, like that 7.52 was, you're basically hemorrhaging DPM. Because the 7.52 on paper has good DPM, right? If we go to Blitzkit here, Blitzkit, and we pull up the mouse, Tankopedia, right? Let's get the 7.52. It's by far one of the most overpowered tier 9s in the game. The 7.52 has 2,465 DPM of Cali, but loading gold lowers that DPM to 2,121. So basically, I'm taking a vehicle's DPM and taking it down by about 300 to 2,100 DPM at most effective. And what that does is it basically takes my mouse's hit point pool and it just increases it by like 25%. So it's really nice when you can get games like that. Overall, I do like the mouse. But for me, it's not my highest performer. You can see I've got 50 games with a 70% win rate, where I have plenty of vehicles. The 116 F3 is 74% win rate, and most of those games were played before the vehicle was even good. 77% win rate in the 60 TP for almost the same amount of games. The Kron. So for me, the mouse is not a great tank for winning. And the reason why is because the better you get at the game, the less effective this vehicle becomes. You can't make those game-changing impacts in a tank that only goes 25. You are so reliant on your mediums, on your tank destroyers to support you, to not let you get overwhelmed, and also to not have your team die immediately. That first game we played, the whole team fell apart in like 30 seconds, and that is just average mouse gameplay. So it's a fun tank, but it's also one that is super team reliant, and because of that, you always got to keep it in mind. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you want to see more like this, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.